Hi, my name is Lucy Morales Carlisle. I am the director of DelMar. DelMar is a short documentary film about a female surfer who navigates life between the coastal beach town of El Sonte, where she's from, and the state of Maryland, where she moves to in order to reunite with her mom. Yeah, I mean, this project was very personal to me because I haven't directed anything since I graduated school. So it's been many, many, many years. And it was one of those things where I was like, I just need to get back on the saddle. And I met this girl like on Instagram, as one does, just kind of like scrolling through. And when I saw her, she was surfing in El Salvador, which I thought was very cool because if you look at a lot of Salvadoran films, they tend to focus on the war or gangs. And I just kind of wanted to focus more on like youth and youth culture, see what the kids were doing out there. And she was surfing, and I'm like, this is great, so sick, like she's so cool. Like I need to meet this girl. And then next thing I know, she posts and she's in the state of Maryland, which is where I'm from. So it's just like one of these like crazy things where her story and my story are very similar. And I think that our stories are very similar to many immigrants who come to this country. So it's sort of like the same story kind of happening over and over again. Like when I came to the US, it was in the 80s because of the Civil War. Her mom comes in the early 2000s because there weren't any jobs out there. So it's kind of like different motivation, but still the same action happening over and over again. So for me, that was very interesting. And she was in my home state. So I visited her, and we just vibed, honestly. We got along super well. And she was just super open to talking about the whole experience. I think that making the film was a bit complicated because at first I was like, I'm gonna make a surf documentary. It is not a surf documentary. It's like, I was like, I'm gonna make a surf documentary. And then it just turned out to be something completely different from where I started from. But I think that's the beauty of filmmaking. You kind of just, grab your camera and go to a coastal beach town and you see what happens. And then the end result was like completely different than what I had in mind. But I think it's like an even better film. I think this is a much stronger, much more important film than just like watching her surf, as fun as that is. I was awarded the post-production micro grant. And basically what this means for us, it just, gives wind to our sails. It helps propel us to the finishing. Right now we're locking the film. And then moving on to finishing, which is like sound mixing and color correction and graphics and, posters and all that fun stuff. So the grant helps just kind of propel us to that direction. And also I think it like motivates you. I think filmmaking can be very sort of lonely and isolated sometimes, where you're just kind of running around in circles and you're not quite sure if you're gonna get out of the maze. And I think like the micro grant helps kind of be like, you're on the right path, keep going. So it's just like propels us and motivates us and just pushes us to get to the finish line, because it's kind of a marathon. Yeah. So I went to SVA and I went to City College. SVA I went for animation, which I have never done in my life ever since I graduated. City College I did film, which was just much more up my alley. And my favorite thing in the whole wide world is post-production. I am an editor through and through. This is kind of my first time going the director route, and it's really, really hard. Shout out to the directors. I think it's a lot. You guys juggle a lot of stuff. So it was nice though, like being in that seat. I'm usually driving post, so to be on the other side was very fun. And yeah, I'm a video editor. I mostly work in post-production. I work full-time at Eater, which is a food publication. So this is my first film that I'm directing, because I'm very into post-production and very into editing. I decided it'd be a good idea to edit myself. It's probably not a good idea to do it. If I were to do it again, I probably wouldn't edit myself. I think that it's nice to have somebody else kind of like take the reins in that respect. Um, it's been very, very hard and very kind of like complicated because oftentimes I'm just sort of like second guessing myself, like, am I making the right call? Like, is this? And also, when you direct, you want to keep everything. You're like, I worked so hard to get these beach shots. I worked so hard. We have like hours of her surfing, and I think in the final cut, it's like maybe like 5 minutes top. So you're like, oh, I have all this beautiful footage. What do I do with it? So I think it's really hard when you're both directing and editing to kind of make that call. I had to kind of cry a little bit and let things go. And then the next day, move on and be like, all right, it's gone. It's better now. It makes more sense. It's more clear. So it's difficult. But I think I did an okay job at, editing myself. Really, I'm editing all my shenanigans. Really just excited to get this micro grant. When I was working on this film, I was like, nobody knows me, nobody knows who I am. I've never directed anything. I'm probably not gonna get like any grants, any awards, any festivals, like acceptances. So I was pretty, I guess, pessimistic about the whole experience. But I think that it's a very long road that you kind of embark on. We started shooting January 2021. So, it's 3 years in, and now it's like you go into the tunnel and you're coming out the other side. And it feels really nice to just get that recognition. I mean, so many of the films that applied for the grant are just incredible. So many incredible directors. I feel super just humbled that my project, my little film about surfing and immigration, made it as a winner. So I'm just super excited, super stoked. I can't wait for everybody to watch this film. I think it's important because it's a social issue that has been going on and continues to go on till this day. And I think it's kind of seeing kind of like the other side of it, the reason why people migrate to this country. And, at times people don't even want to come. And I think that's kind of important to kind of understand that these are human beings who are leaving behind a whole life, family, goals, dreams, and aspirations to come here. So I'm just excited. I'm super happy. I can't wait for everybody to watch my film. And now I feel much more optimistic about it. It will get into some festivals.